Hi, I'm Michelle Jack. I'm one of the dietitians here at Florida Hospital Diabetes Institute. Welcome to Dining with Diabetes, Taste and Learn. What we're working on today are some foods that are great for spring celebrations that are coming up, all those graduations and baby showers and all that stuff. So some food that's light, springy, easy to prepare. We're going to be doing deviled eggs 4 different ways. We have some glazed fruits, and I want to turn it over to Edwin, who's going to make a wonderful, healthy, and delicious salad and scrumptious soup.
All right, so thank you, Michelle. Well, what we're going to start doing today is going to be actually an asparagus soup, because sometimes we just forget that it can be a whole meal within this, within this bowl. So, and of course, the spring. We got asparagus, we got so many root vegetables. But what we're gonna do today, we're just gonna start using some canola oil. And I have too much in here, but yeah, we're just gonna do very little actually. What we're gonna do is that's it, just like a teaspoon, right? Because then we're just gonna add these yellow onions. We don't want them really to caramelize too much, but let's just start sauteing them. And just in case, you can remove them from the heat. I got some fresh ginger and garlic right here. And this soup is actually quite simple, really. And I believe you're gonna love it. You see, I'm caramelizing a little just to give that extra flavor, but I don't wanna take them to a really dark color. So that golden brown, that is more than perfect. So simple to say, here goes my asparagus, right? So I like to cut them because then they can absorb more liquid. And when you puree it, which that's going to be one of the procedures that we're going to do as part of the instructions, then you'll see the reason why it would actually not become like really stringy. So I'm just going to add the potatoes. The potatoes, they're just going to bind that. So it becomes really creamy because this is actually a soup that I'm making. Right now, let's just add the liquid. This would be the vegetable stock. If you would like, you can definitely use some chicken broth, and that will give more flavor to it. The components that I have right here, I'm just going to let this simmer, really. So we're just going to let it simmer because we want those potatoes to cook off and the asparagus to soften, right? Like the next components are going to be, I even have butter and half, imagine that. So, but it's for you to understand how you can use them in moderations. It would still give the creaminess of having a puree soup, and the reason why is because I actually added some potatoes in there, and the potatoes, the starches, when they start breaking down, they start binding things around it, right? That's what starches do. So, and then we're just going to add a little bit of butter and just some half and half at the end. What you can do right now, if you want to, you can add, actually, this is interesting because this is mustard. So, and just by having this mustard, we don't really have to add so much fat to it, and it would still give a really full flavor that you're just gonna find when this is ready and all puree. And then all you do is you just want to cover it and just let it simmer, right? Because we don't really want to destroy the asparagus, because you just don't want all that fiber to be broken up, because then when you actually puree it, it becomes really foamy. And remember that there's potatoes in there. If you break the carbohydrate strands from the potatoes, they become like a mesh, and that's why they become really good. You don't want that with your. So now let's just move right here, and we're just going to make a salad. And this salad is actually a combination of certain vegetables that we were going to get for our farmer's market. But I know that you can go to your local farmer's market, and right now you're just going to find all this. These are just different components that I found that I could actually make something with. But I have, right here I have some cooked beets. There's 3 different methods that you can actually do. You can either boil them, you can cover them with foil in a pan and just roast them like that, or just with the foil, just roll them in the foil, cover the end, place them in the oven, and then 45 minutes later at 400 degrees, you have beautiful and perfect beets. And one of the things about the beets is like, you know, we're not so fond of them, but it's because we still don't remember when we actually had them fresh. Because remember, you having them from a can, that's the flavor that you still have probably in your palate, and that's what you remember of beets. So today we're just going to change that, and this is going to be a really nice and sweet flavor. And I just wanted to combine it. This is bulgur wheat. So it's not like couscous, because couscous would be just like a different grain. The bulgur wheat has been broken, but it still have some of the husk, so that means that it actually have more fiber than regular couscous. That's what I'm going for, right? Because if we're going to incorporate some grains, let's just do some healthy ones, right? Because, you know, we just have these really beautiful ingredients, and we just don't want to diminish the freshness of them, or actually the components. This is actually kale. Oops, sorry about that. This is kale that I just steam and then just cut. So it's already done, ready to eat, you see. But it's actually not so crispy in the sense that it would actually feel too raw, because it can be like frizzy, you know. So right now what we have is the components, which is, you can actually saute these if you want to. But we have some shallots, which is a combination of, they say that the flavor of them is a combination of onions and garlic, but it's actually mild. That's why I'm not using garlic in this recipe, right? Then we have some green peppers. If you use red, I would prefer you to use red. I just couldn't get, we couldn't have them today in the kitchen for some reason. And then we have the yellow peppers, right? I have some navel oranges right here. And you're probably thinking, what is he gonna make? So, and then this is the vinaigrette. All you see up here, this is actually fresh thyme. Fresh thyme, and I have some olive oil. There is the pepper, I'm just gonna put it right here. There's a pinch of salt in there. And the other thing that I have as the vinaigrette will be orange juice, right? So, we don't really need, if you want to use a different acid, you know, you can. But the other thing is that I'm combining two acids. Right here we have the orange juice, and then I have white balsamic vinegar. That's why it looks like that, because it's not the regular balsamic that we see all the time. So it's quite simple. All we're going to do after all this is done, we're just going to do our bulgur wheat. And the beauty about this is, like, just look at all these colors, because they all going to turn a completely different color after I combine all this, right? So I have my really intense green, right? And we're just going to add the peppers. And as you can see, we're cooking with colors, so the more colors there is, the more antioxidants that you're actually consuming, right? I have my beets right here. So look at all these colors, but the fun part comes pretty soon. Okay, I have my oranges right there. And look at these colors. And it's just such a fresh salad for spring. And then the great thing about this is, like, people would not really think that all these ingredients are just combined here, and because I like to do different things, right? So this is actually the vinaigrette, and I'm just going to do a little bit of black pepper with our most authentic pepper mill ever. So, but look at this, actually. So now you're having all those oranges, and what's happening right now? What's the color of the spatula? Purple, right? And if you start looking at the bulgur wheat, what is turning? It's just turning purple too. So in half an hour, you're just going to have actually a pink salad with oranges and the really strong beet color. So this is actually it for this. It's kind of rustic. I like that, right? Because if we decide to do leafy greens, then you just really have to have lots of bags just to actually have a portion. But from here, 4 ounces of this, you have pretty much a whole meal, you know. Why? Because all the carbohydrates that you're actually getting from this recipe, they're all natural sugars. There's no added sugar here. So, and that's one of those things that you have to go for. Then having sugar or the carbohydrates from the bulgur wheat, it's okay because it actually has some fiber to it, because remember, it still have the bran. So now you see all these combinations, you're just going to get like oranges, you're just going to get the peppers and the beets and the kale. So you have a lot of nutrients in this salad, and it's very, very refreshing. So just for, you know, just to serve it, it's always good to have all the colors, so they see all the colors in the salad. And then we're just going to add a few walnuts, right? And that's actually the salad for this spring class. And you can definitely see here, I mean, that is pretty much in a raw stage, because the kale, I really didn't cook it off so much. So it's actually very crisp and nice. So this is something that you should definitely try. So let's just go back to the soup and see how it's doing, okay? So let's just come right here, and we're just gonna add the other components. Here I have the huge amount of butter, right? Why? Because it's just really for the texture of it. And we're just gonna add a little bit of half and half. Look at this. This is just 1 teaspoon. Seriously. Why? Because the potatoes and the meal solids from the half and half, that's what they're going to build that consistency. I have some black pepper right here, and let's just add a pinch of salt, because I didn't have this. That's probably like 1/4 teaspoon of it, right? And we're just going to leave this for later, because that's what we're going to use as garnish. So let's just actually puree this soup, and you're going to see how simple it is. So you can either do this or strain the soup and place everything in the blender and then start adding liquid to it. But just because it's such a small batch, this is 3 servings, we're just going to go and we're just going to do it like this, right? Awesome. So this is it. And you just want to really puree it until everything is incorporated. And when you look at the whirlpool that it's actually making, that it becomes like the same texture, like as you see it. There shouldn't be like lumps going up and down, because then you know that it's just smooth, but then you just don't want to overdo it after that, right? So let me see how this is. Oh, nice. This looks pretty good. And now let's just pour 1 serving, which is, because we have to always be careful about those carbohydrates, right? So this is actually the perfect portion for you right now. And let's just garnish that with a little bit of chives, and which is part of the scallion family. So, and there you go. That's your spring resolution right there.
Edwin, you've done it again. It's a wonderful looking, appetizing, colorful, we know it's healthy when we see kale, asparagus, beets, and oranges on the same plate.
Right.
So I'm going to taste a little bit of the salad.
I just want to see how this soup is because, oh, and those are nice baked fresh beets. So, and from here,
Wow.
what do you think of them?
Wow.
Really, what do you think of that?
Wow. I'm loving the kale. I love beets. Love beets. Grew up on them.
What you're finding there is just like that acid contrast with all the different sweetness from it, plus the sweetness from the bulgur wheat, because it's still a whole grain, but you remember it has starch in it, so that means that there's carbohydrates. That means that those are sugars. So, and in the soup, you just find that aftertaste of the ginger, but there's some of the mustard is actually pretty filling. It's a mouthful.
Hearty.
Yeah, it's actually nice, you know. So
Something like this, we would call that like 1 carbohydrate choice or 15 grams. But it's loaded. I mean, we have to eat our carbohydrates, but we want to eat good ones. This is a good example of good ones. This whole
Awesome.
plate. This whole plate. I don't think you missed anything on the color palette here.
it's
anything.
actually pretty colorful.
Yeah.
Not until I put it on this plate, I realized how nice it looks. So, well, this is for you guys to enjoy it, really, and just try these recipes. Don't look at the many ingredients that they have. Just look at the nutritional value that you're gonna get from them, and you'll be healthy, happy, and strong. So.
And you know, when you're talking about celebrations, pretty doesn't hurt either. And this
Oh,
is definitely pretty.
Right.
Yeah, this is pretty. And that's very
spring.
appetizing for people.
Cool. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you. So,
Thank you for having me again.
well, I can't wait till next time.
Alrighty. Take care.